For over 200 years, the human ship Helios was listed as lost. It had vanished during a massive battle near a collapsing black hole, along with its entire crew. No wreckage was found. No distress call was heard. The galaxy had marked it as a mystery, one that would never be solved. But now, something changed. At the edge of the Andari Nebula, a small observation post belonging to the Varn Empire caught a strange signal. It was faint, broken, and repeated only one word over and over again: Helios returning. The message was old, ancient, but the signal was real. The Varn technicians replayed it again and again, not believing their sensors. This was a fee. Human transmission coded in Earth's war language, a dialect no one had used in centuries. The news reached the Galactic Council within hours. Panic began to ripple quietly through the powerful empires. The Helios was not just any human ship. It was Earth's first deep war vessel, experimental, massive, and filled with secrets. And now it was back? The Council refused to believe it. Still, they could not ignore it. They sent a small scout ship, non-aggressive, equipped only with sensors and cameras. Its crew included 3 species: a Varn pilot, a Zelo scientist, and a young Fari observer. All had read about the Helios in history files, but they never expected to see it with their own eyes. After 3 days of silent travel, they reached the coordinates. There, floating just beyond the nebula, was a ship. Gigantic, silent, dark. It matched the shape and structure of the Helios exactly. The pilot slowed the scout ship and began scans. No heat signatures, no weapon locks. It's cold, but still active, the pilot reported. The Zelo scientist adjusted the monitors. Impossible. That ship should have decayed long ago. The energy core is still running. It's like it never left. The young Fari stared out the window in silence. The human ship was covered in dust and time. Its paint had faded and small. Impacts scarred its outer hull, but it was complete. Not a single part looked broken. There was no sign of battle damage. Then something happened. The ship's lights turned on slowly, one by one. A bright glow lit up the ship's name on its side. Helios Terran Warsiomemand. The Zelo stepped back. It knows we're here. No transmissions are being sent out, said the pilot. But wait. Something is wrong with our instruments. Ship began emitting a pulse, low, constant, and deep. Like a heartbeat, every system on the scout ship started to glitch. Cameras shook. Lights flickered. The crew began hearing things, distant voices, whispers in old human languages none of them had ever learned. The young Fari clutched the seat arm. It's calling to someone. Not us, something else. Suddenly, without warning, their ship received a data package massive in size. It wasn't an attack. It was a memory. They opened it. Inside were old files, video logs, and battle records from over 200 years ago, recorded inside Helios. Some of the videos showed what really happened at the black hole. A ship had been pulled into it, but it didn't die. It survived. The final clip was the strangest. It showed the crew of Helios, alive, standing in a dark room. Behind them, a swirling light bent reality. And then one of the humans looked straight into the camera and said, "We saw beyond the veil. We know what's coming. Earth will rise." Again, the video ended. Silence followed. The Zelo was pale. This shouldn't be possible. It defies all science. The Varn pilot whispered, "This is a warning." The Fari looked back at the ship through the window. The human vessel hadn't moved, but somehow it felt like it was watching them, like it had returned with purpose. Suddenly, alarms blared in their cabin. The Helios had activated a new signal, this time on all galactic frequencies. Every empire, every colony, every ship across the stars would now hear the same message. It was Earth's war song. Sound not heard for over 200 years. A sound that once meant only one thing. Humanity is coming. The scout team sat in stunned silence. They had come looking for answers, but all they found was fear. The scout ship hovered near the Helios, still afraid to get closer. No weapons fired. No shields were raised. But the silence, it was wrong. Deep space was never this quiet. Even the background noise of stars and static had faded. Only the heartbeat-like pulse from the Helios continued. The Varn pilot spoke first. "We should leave. This ship is not normal." But the Zelo scientist shook his head. "This is history. We must understand how it survived. We must see what's inside." Against orders, they moved in. The docking clamps hissed as the scout ship connected to the ancient Terran vessel. The hallway beyond the airlock was dark and cold, filled with a faint mist. The walls were smooth metal, blackened with age, but still alive. Lights blinked slowly, as if the ship was breathing. The Fari whispered, "It feels like the ship is awake." They stepped carefully into the corridor. Strange symbols glowed along the floor, symbols not used in modern human ships. They looked old, maybe even pre-Earth Alliance era. Every few steps, the walls shimmered, showing brief flashes of memories. Battles, screams, a planet burning. But when they turned to look, the images were gone. Then they heard footsteps. Not theirs. From the hallway ahead, a soft tapping echoed toward them. Metal on metal. Slow. Calm. The pilot raised a scanner. Life form detected. Human. That was impossible. The Helios crew had gone missing centuries ago. No one could survive that long. No one should even be here. A figure stepped out from the mist. He wore old Earth battle armor, scratched, burned, and ancient. His face was pale, but not aged. He looked like a man in his 30s. His eyes were different. Not glowing, not robotic. Just calm, silent, deep. He looked at the scout team and said only one word: "Welcome." The Zelo tried to speak. You're human? This ship was lost in the black hole. How did you survive?" The man didn't answer. He turned and walked deeper into the ship, expecting them to follow. They did. He led them through halls filled with strange energy. The ship didn't creak or groan. It felt steady, like time had stopped for it. Rooms were filled with preserved gear, working computers, and more cryopods, each one holding another crew member. Asleep, breathing slowly. There were hundreds, all human, all untouched by time. The Fari stared at one woman inside a pod. They didn't die. They were protected. The guide nodded. "We were saved, pulled beyond time, beyond space." The pilot narrowed his eyes. "By who?" "This time," the man answered, "we don't know. But they showed us the end. We returned because no one else will stop it." The lights around them turned red. A projection appeared on the wall, images of the galaxy burning, fleets being torn apart, stars collapsing unnaturally. It wasn't war. It wasn't natural death. It was something else. The projection ended with a final image. Earth still standing. Alone. The Zelo whispered, That hasn't happened yet." The man looked directly at them. "It will. Unless you remember what you forgot. Earth warned you once. You laughed. Then you left us behind." The scout team stood silent. They all knew the truth. After the Black War, when Earth lost most of its fleet, the Galactic Council had declared the humans unstable and left them to collapse alone. The Council moved on. But Earth didn't die. Now it was back, with a ship that should be dust, and a crew that should be bones. As they turned to leave, the Helios pulsed again. This time, a new message was being sent across the galaxy. "The sleepers are waking from their orbit. They saw it. All across the ship, the cryopods were glowing. The crew of the Helios was coming back, and the stars would never be the same again. Asterisk. The scout ship pulled away from the Helios, but no one inside could speak. Not yet. What they had just witnessed didn't belong to this time, or any time they understood. Hundreds of human cryopods glowing. A crew untouched by centuries. And a calm man who spoke of the end like it was a memory dot inside the control room of the scout ship. The geoscientist shook with disbelief as he studied the strange files the Helios had shared. These weren't just ancient logs. They were predictions clear, terrifying records of events that hadn't happened yet, but soon would. Every single event is time-stamped, the Zello said. These files, they list future wars, future disasters, even the fall of empires. How is this possible? The Fari didn't look up from the screen. Her voice was quiet. The Helios went into the black hole. Maybe it saw something on the other side. The pilot's fingers trembled on the flight controls. We should have never come near this ship. Suddenly, a bright light burst from the Helios and hit their ship, but it wasn't an attack. It was a second data pulse. This one larger, heavier. The ship's AI began speaking without being asked in an old, forgotten human tone. Transmission from Terran vessel Helios. Projecting authorized vision record. Timeline collapse variant Delta 7. A hologram formed in the air. What they saw next made their blood run cold. A massive alien fleet appeared in the image ships from the councils. Largest empires. They were beautiful, shining with advanced tech. They fired together at something off-screen. Massive energy blasts lit up the void. Then, something emerged through their weapon's fire dot. It was a black sphere, floating, silent. It swallowed the light. The moment it passed through the center of the fleet, every ship stopped moving. Engines dead. Lights out. Communications gone. Then, from within the alien ships, one by one, the crews began to scream. Their bodies twisted unnaturally. Their minds lost all order. Some turned on each other. Others simply collapsed in silence, eyes wide open. Only one ship survived, barely. Its escape pod recorded a final message. It feeds on memory, on history, on regret. The hologram shifted. Now, Earth was under attack, but something was different. The skies above the blue planet burned, not from defeat, but from defense. Earth's old weapons, forgotten by the galaxy, were fighting back with a fury never seen before, and they were winning. Fleets fell. The black sphere cracked, and just before the vision ended, a single voice echoed out, "Earth remembers. We were never gone." The hologram vanished. The scout team sat frozen in their seats. Sweat covered their faces. The pilot finally spoke, barely whispering. "This isn't a warning. It's a second chance." The Fari nodded. They came back not to destroy, but to show us what's coming. The Zello leaned back in his seat, and they're waiting to see if we'll do anything about it. Just then, the Helios moved. Its engines, which had been cold for centuries, came alive with soft blue fire. It turned slowly and began to drift away, heading toward the center of the galaxy. No message. No goodbye. But every major empire, every military outpost, every data tower across the stars had received the vision. Within hours, panic spread. Council leaders screamed at each other. Old enemies began forming temporary alliances. Ancient weapons were pulled from forgotten vaults. Deep inside, they all knew the same truth. The humans were not asking for help. They were giving a choice. Follow the Helios, or face the darkness alone. Asterisk. The Helios drifted silently through the void. Its path slow, but steady, like it already knew where to go. the galaxy watched in silence. From the outer colonies to the high empires, everyone tracked the ship's movement. It passed through ancient war zones, across starfields still scarred by old battles. But it didn't stop. It didn't respond to hails. It didn't need to dot. It was heading straight for the center of the galaxy, toward the heart of the largest empire. The high throne of Oral as dot. The Aralis Empire ruled 10,000 systems. Their fleet was unmatched. Their capital world, Ralvera, had never been touched by war. For over 600 years, they had watched others rise and fall while they remained untouched, confident in their power. But as the Helios approached, Ralvera began to panic. Council leaders argued in their sky palace. Some wanted to destroy the Terran vessel before it entered orbit. Others warned that provoking it might awaken something worse. But all of them felt it, the fear no one spoke out loud. They remembered Earth. Long ago, Earth had been their ally. Then Earth had been betrayed. Aralis had sent fleets to help in the Black War. But when Earth started losing, Aralis pulled out and signed a peace deal with Earth's enemies. Now the humans had returned, and their first stop was RAL-Vera. As the Helios entered orbit, all defense systems on the planet activated. Thousands of weapons aimed at the ship, but it didn't fire. It simply projected light. Red beams shot down from its underbelly and struck the sky above Ralvera's capital. It didn't burn, didn't explode, but it painted the air with a glowing symbol. The symbol was old.TERRN.A, war mark from Earth's ancient past, a warning used during the last great conflict. Earth remembers. People below stopped and stared. The light hung in the air like fire that refused to fade. No weapon could remove it. It was carved into the sky, across clouds and towers. And it wasn't alone. Moments later, across 10 other empires, the same red mark appeared in their skies, perfectly timed, perfectly synchronized. Even empires who had buried their shame saw it. The message was clear. Earth knew who had betrayed them. And Earth had returned, but the Helios still didn't attack. It didn't need to. Across communication networks, a voice echoed, calm, clear, familiar to those who had studied old human speech. You left us in the dark. You watched us fall. Now we return, not with revenge, but with truth. What comes next is your test, not ours. Across the galaxy, silence followed. But fear grew. Many leaders thought the humans had brought a weapon. Others believed it was a prophecy. Some whispered it was a challenge, that Helios was testing them before something far worse arrived. On Ralvera, the Aralis Emperor stepped onto the balcony of the Sky Palace, looking up at the red mark. His face was pale. His words were quiet. Tell the people we will not fire. We will listen. But not all agreed. On a distant world controlled by the Shiran Dominion long time, enemies of humanity, a fleet commander gave the order to launch an attack on the Helios. It's just an old ship, he said. We'll remind Earth where it belongs. 5 ships launched and raced through hyperspace. They never returned. Only one message came back from their fleet. We attacked the Ghost. The Ghost showed us ourselves. Then it vanished. We are not worthy. After that, no one dared fire again. Galactic networks buzzed with questions, but there were no answers. Only rumors. Some said the Helios was alive. Others said its crew had touched. Something divine. One tale whispered through underground channels claimed that the ship had never left. The black hole had existed in 2 places at once, one in the present and one beyond time. Whatever the truth was, it didn't matter now. The mark in the sky stayed glowing for 6 full hours. Then, just as quietly as it had come, the Helios turned and vanished into deep space. No trace. No signal. Only silence. And behind it, across 11 skies in the galaxy, the same mark burned on. Earth remembers. Asterisk. The Galactic Council had not met in person for over 100 years. Their last gathering had been a celebration of peace-signing trade routes, expanding influence, and quietly ignoring the broken promises made to Earth. But now, for the first time in a century, every major species sent their top leaders to one place, not to celebrate, but to survive. Inside the ancient stone chamber of the council hall, the air was tense. It echoed with the soft murmurs of translators and flickering holograms. Flags of different empires hung above their seats, some proudly, others like a warning. And at the center, on the high platform, stood the new Grand Speaker of the Council, a calm but shaking figure from the Tellar Union. He raised his hand. The voices died down. The Helios has spoken, he began. It has not attacked, but its message is clear. The humans have returned, changed. One council member from the Zarn Collective slammed his fist on the table. This is fear-mongering. It's just an old warship with clever tricks. If we treat it like a god, we invite madness. But the Varn ambassador stood and shook her head. I was at the edge of the Andari Nebula. I saw the ship. I saw its crew. That wasn't a trick. Time doesn't touch them. A hush followed her words. The Fari delegate, usually quiet and distant, leaned forward. You all felt it, didn't you? The moment the mark appeared in your skies? The cold inside your bones? That wasn't technology. That was memory. And humans have a long one. A silence followed that no one dared break, because it was true. Every empire present except maybe the newest had once used Earth. In wars, in politics, in diplomacy. Earth was brave, creative, adaptable. But when Earth became too bold, too dangerous, the Council slowly pushed them out, left them unsupported during the Black War, labeled them unstable, and then forgot them. Until now. The room grew restless. Accusations began flying. Some blamed the Oralis for turning their backs. Others blamed the Shirin for pushing Earth too far. But in truth, they all had a part in the betrayal. The Helios had reminded them of it. Suddenly, all lights in the chamber dimmed. A message appeared, projected by an unknown source, not from Council Tech, but inserted directly into the air. No ship was near. No transmission was detected. It simply appeared, the face of a human. The same man who had greeted the scout crew earlier. He spoke slowly. We are not here for war. Not yet. We came to give you a gift, your forgotten past. And your only warning. The projection changed now, showing planets dying, stars going dark, and civilizations falling. But these were not wars. These were erasures. Like something was deleting parts of the galaxy, wiping them clean. Something is coming. It hunts memory. It eats regret. It grows stronger when you forget who you are. Earth survived because we never forgot. You did. The image faded, and the lights returned. For a moment, no one in the council moved. Then chaos erupted. Some demanded war against Earth, claiming this was all psychological warfare. Others screamed for unity, saying the humans had seen what they hadn't and must be listened to. A few simply left their seats and walked out, pale and wordless, as if already defeated. The council was cracking, and Earth hadn't fired a single shot. Hours later, a private message went viral across the galaxy, leaked by someone inside the council. It was a report, dated 198 years ago, marked confidential, Earth Alliance, classified. The report described a transmission received just days before the Helios vanished into the black hole. A voice unregistered had spoken from within the event horizon. We've seen the edge of death. The stars are not safe. Earth is not broken. We are being prepared. A message had been dismissed as data corruption. Now, no one was sure. By nightfall, 3 empires had pulled out of the council entirely. The rest stayed quiet. The mighty Galactic Council, builders of laws and wars, was beginning to fall apart, not because of an enemy, but because of their own shame. And somewhere, beyond known space, the Helios moved again, its glowing engines silently cutting through the stars. No war, no message. Only a calm presence, and a memory the galaxy could no longer run from. The Helios vanished into deep space once more. No signal, no trail, no sound. Just gone. But what it left behind wasn't silence. It was fear. Not the kind that made people scream. The kind that made entire empires go still. Ships that once flew proudly across systems were now docked. Training grounds that echoed with battle drills now sat empty. And fleets once praised for strength were now quiet in orbit, scanning the stars for a ghost they couldn't predict. Across 1,000 worlds, a strange feeling had settled in. Not war, not peace. Judgment. On the planet Voltra 9, home to the ruthless. Kolari Dominion. An emergency meeting was called among its warlords. They had once tried to invade Earth long before the Helios incident, and were never fully defeated, only delayed. Now, those warlords whispered. The humans didn't attack, one said. Because they don't need to, another replied. They just need us to remember what we did. No one spoke for a while. Then they powered down their war plans. For the first time in their long history, the Kolari deactivated all their fleets voluntarily, not from fear of weapons, but from fear of being seen by the Helios again. Meanwhile, on the floating city of Darnell's Reach, an empire built from data and information, every database had one word flashing at the top. Observed. A message no one had input. A message no one could delete. The moment Helios passed near their outer satellite, every classified file about Earth, every betrayal, every report, every diplomatic conversation had been mirrored on their public networks. The people saw everything. Riots broke out, not because of Earth, but because of the truth. What Helios had truly brought was memory, the kind the empires had tried to erase. Now it lived again. The Galactic Council, once the center of all order, had become a shattered table. Only 7 members remained. The others had gone silent. One council world even sent a message to Earth. We offer peace. We offer alliance. We were wrong. There was no reply. Earth had not spoken since the Helios left. And that silence, that perfect silence, was louder than any weapon. On a small colony moon called Viren 6, far from Empire control, an alien child stared up at the night sky. Grandfather sat beside her. She pointed at the red symbols still glowing faintly in their sky. Who are the humans, Grandpa? The old one sighed. Once we said they were broken, lost, worth nothing. The child looked confused. Then why? Did their ship come back? He smiled, eyes soft with something between fear and hope. Because they never gave up. Because even when we forgot them, they never forgot themselves. The child was quiet for a moment. Then she whispered, Will they come here? The old one looked at the stars. I hope so. Elsewhere, in the void between stars, the Helios moved without a sound. Its engines pulsed slowly, calmly. Inside, its crew was no longer sleeping. They walked its halls now, quiet, focused, awake. They didn't speak of revenge. They didn't speak of war. They prepared. Because something was still coming. Something that eats regret, feeds on forgotten pain, and grows stronger when civilizations lie to themselves. The humans had seen it. They had survived it once. And now, they were preparing the galaxy to face it too. But the choice was no longer. Earth's dot was the galaxy's dot as the Helios disappeared beyond known charts. One final signal was recorded across every channel, soft and simple. History is not written by those who remember victories. It is written by those who remember the truth. And with that, the stars felt colder. Empires froze in their silence, because Earth had returned ... and it had brought the one thing no empire could fight: memory. Asterisk.